Well, solar manufacturer Callsun recently released this large 450 watt bifacial solar panel, and they asked if I would check it out, but also to share some thoughts on how you might use this large solar panel in a mobile environment like an RV or a van, because typically, you'll see smaller format solar panels on RVs, and there's good reason for that. But I've been running with some very large solar panels on our Class A motorhome that I installed over 5 years ago. And in those years, we've traveled all over the place, all the way up to Alaska, down into Mexico, and all across the western United States. And they've worked out great for me, but they're not for everyone. So what I also want to do is talk about some pros and cons, things you want to consider if you are looking at installing a larger solar panel in your mobile setup. So let's check this out, and hopefully this information will give you some things to chew on if you're considering one of these larger solar panels. Now, the size of the panel could probably put it in the pro category as well as the con category, because as a pro, you're probably going to get higher energy density from a larger solar panel, because we're going to be able to generate more power per square foot. The width, it's about 44.5 inches, and the height, we're looking at 69 inches or so. If you had multiple smaller solar panels that equaled 450 watts, it's probably going to take up more space. So with a single module like this, we can condense a lot of that into a smaller form factor. So that could be a pro. This is roughly a 200 watt solar panel that we might see on an RV. We can see the difference in size. And for a lot of applications, this is probably a good size, because we have more options for how we can lay it out. But we'll talk about that shortly. But these are typically used in residential type of applications on rooftops, or since it's a bifacial solar panel, we'll probably see that more in a rack-mounted setup where we can get light reflecting from both sides of the panel and make use of that bifacial gain, which we'll take a look at a little bit later. Now, another pro of going with a larger solar panel is that it's going to minimize the number of cables and connections you need to make, and failure points related to those connections. A lot of times that's where failures occur, is where those electrical connections are made. So if you have, say, 2 of these, 4 of these, you only have 4 sets of cables to connect either in series or then to some sort of other junction box or combiner, whatever you're doing to connect your solar setup. But if you had smaller panels, say the 200 watt ones, you'll have twice as many panels to connect. So going with a larger format is definitely going to reduce all your cables and connection points. Now with this panel specifically, it's got a very high efficiency rating of about 25%, and it also has some anti-shading capabilities, but we're using half cells here, so we can see also within the cells we've got 16 bus bars here in the middle, which helps contribute to its anti-shading capability because of all these extra paths through each cell. So if we cover part of it, we're still getting some current flow through the cell. It's a dual panel, dual module design, and you can kind of see it here where we have this divider here and it's connected here at these points, and we've essentially have 2 solar panels on one physical panel. Now that allows us to have some redundancy and help with the anti-shading capabilities of this panel, so if something were to obstruct the top or the bottom, we'd still have the majority of the other half of the panel that's going to produce. And also, with part of this panel obstructed, you're still going to have some of these cells because of the redundant nature of the bus bars. So if we cover part of the top and the bottom, it seems to at least produce some decent power. But if we span both of these sides, then that seems to take a bigger hit. That's like 8, 9, 10 watts now. But here, yeah, still 200 watts there with more than half of the top portion covered. So there's our shade tolerance. Now taking a look at the back of the panel, we can see where this bifacial gain is going to come from, because the rear of the panel is also exposed with these solar cells. So these are also going to collect energy as light is reflected back up to the back of the panel. And this is also a glass backing here, just like the front. So we've got glass on the front, glass on the back. Gives it just a little bit more stability and longevity. Now most solar panels also have a sticker on the back that has all of the specs that you can reference when installing and rating all of these panels. This one, the sticker is very, very small, but at least it's here. So we can see things really close, like this, a 450 watt panel, has a max power voltage of just about 30 volts. And I think we also have an open circuit voltage of 35 volts. And our current rating is at max power about 14, almost 15 amps. But also we have a short circuit current, which we can measure here without it being connected to anything, of about 16 amps. So we can take a look at that real quick. I don't have a perfect angle to the sun right now, but let's take a reading. Giving us about 33 volts open circuit, and that's with a less than optimal angle right now at the sun. So if we look at our open circuit voltage rating, it's close to 35 volts. So right now we're getting about 33, which is pretty good. So our short circuit current reading is giving us about, let's see, 13 amps right now, and that's the sun is slowly moving behind a thin cloud. So you see it's fluctuating 12.8 and close to 13 amps. So we should see that increase once we change the angle of this solar panel. All right, so a quick comparison here. We have our bifacial Callsun panel here on the left for 450 watts. It's got our 16 bus bar N-type PERC cell configuration, and we have a very similar panel here, but this is a 440 watt panel from a different manufacturer. You can see it's even a little bit taller. And same cells, it's just got a black on black layout. It's the same ones I have installed here on the roof, but this is a monofacial panel, not bifacial. Let's look at the output here. Got them both connected to their own little charge controller. This is the Callsun, and this is the second one. So let's look at Victron Connect here. Yeah, both are getting about the same voltage right now, 14.3 something. And if we look at the top one though, this is the Callsun panel. It is generating 219 watts under the current conditions. We got some clouds and stuff. And compare that to the other panel, which is the monofacial, bringing in 154 watts. So pretty interesting. We can also see the amps going out. 14, 15 amps going out, and about 10 being produced by the second panel. So that is pretty good comparison with the bifacial gain. I have this little reflective surface here, just diverting some of that sun here to get underneath the bottom of the panel. And this is the other one here. You can see the backing. It's just a white backing. So once again, we can compare the output of the Callsun bifacial. Right now it's like 219 watts compared to 152 watts for the monofacial panel with very similar, almost exact specifications. And on the bifacial, it's almost maxing out the 15 amps of this charge controller. And on the monofacial, it's pulling in 10.3 amps. Now I wanted to take one more measurement with a different charge controller this time. The previous one was maxing out at 15 amps. This one can generate up to 50 because the other one was maxing out at 15 here, but I knew that it could probably had more capability and more power that it could generate. So with this other one, under these overcast conditions, we're pulling in about 249 watts now, and between 17 and 18 amps. So that's a more realistic view of what we can generate right now under these conditions. And I'm using that right now to power or recharge this power station. You can see there's 233 watts coming in right now to charge this sucker up. So now the last pro that I'll mention is that unlike most of the residential size solar panels like this that you can buy these directly off of Amazon in packs of 2 that could just arrive just via standard shipping and delivery from Amazon. The other ones that I've ordered, even the ones that I got for the RV, I ordered them by pallet. So since I was paying like $450 or so for a freight shipment of solar panels, I ordered 8. I only needed 4. And other ones that I also purchased for my roof setup here also came on a pallet. So really nice that you can just order these off of Amazon in packs of 2 and they just arrive right at your door, just like any other Amazon package. But the price on Amazon right now is also pretty good. It runs about 75 cents per watt or so when I calculated it, and that's for a 2-pack. So these come really nicely packaged in a box, lots of foam. I was surprised how well packaged it was. All right, well, let's get into the cons. The biggest one being the physical size of these panels. They're pretty large and heavy. They weigh in at about 54 pounds. So you can imagine that box that if you order these, you get 2 of them, it's over 100 pounds. And getting that and maneuvering that much weight up onto a large RV can be challenging, and then moving it around is also challenging. But the physical dimensions also limit what you can do on an RV. So most standard RVs that have equipment down the middle of the roof will be limited to smaller, narrower panels that you'll string on either side that can fit in that gap between, say, your air conditioner and the edge of your RV roof. Something like this, you really are limited in what you can do without removing some equipment. Now my RV was a little bit of an exception because we had a basement air conditioner, so it wasn't on the roof. Now we have a 12-volt AC right there in the middle, but we don't have this big AC that was on the roof that was taking up space. So when we got it, the roof was fairly clean. I had to remove a couple of antennas, but I was able to find some large panels, 435 watt panels, that I could fit 2 of them on the front, 2 of them on the back. And they were narrower and taller than these are. And still I was able to maintain this place to walk in between the panels and still be able to access everything up there. And I left the middle where the skylight and everything is clear, so I have a place to get up and clean and do things and run some cables. But that may be the exception for me. And most RVs don't have an open roof. Now, if you had a van or some sort of box truck that you're converting, and you had room for a panel like this size, put on a rack, and it would fit inside that the dimensions of the roof of your van. So that would be a good option for that type of install. Now you might be thinking, why not mount them sideways across the roof that way, instead of lengthwise, mount them that way. Now the issue that you're going to run up against, whether you're in an RV or even in a lot of vans, is that the roof line has a slope to it. So you can't just mount it that way without having a really shallow part in the middle and some longer parts on the end. I would recommend, in that case, what most people do, they'll install some sort of rack that's going to lift it up, a few inches off of that roof to cancel out that curvature of the roof line. And that's probably the best mounting suggestion for this anyway, is to use some kind of rack system that you'll be able to support this panel all the way down and not just have like a couple of mounting feet, scattered around the edges. I would definitely have a way to support this all the way down, because if you're in harsh road conditions, you're going to want a lot of that support and weight distributed across a longer area, and it's just going to be a lot more secure and robust that way. And that brings me to another con, is that traditional mounting setups that you'll see for RV mounted solar aren't really going to work for this. You're probably going to have to build or come up with some sort of rack system to accommodate something this size. If you don't support the middle, then as you drive, it may flex a little bit in the middle, make noise, or you don't want anything flexing and bouncing. The more support you can give it with a rack, the better. Now there is an interesting type of rack system that I will be showing you in a future video if I get my hands on one. So stay tuned for that. I won't say anything more at this point, but it's pretty cool. The last con, it's more of a concern that I'll point out, is pay attention to the voltage of the panel. And this could be any panel that you're ordering. This one has an open circuit voltage of 35 volts, but you're not getting that normally. You're typically going to get around 30 volts. Since these come in a 2-pack and they're large and they're bifacial, you may be tempted to get a couple of these and create a little ground mount setup and connect it to, say, a 48 volt inverter, solar inverter. I'm going to warn you that that may not work with just 2 of these, because if you take that, let's just say, under decent conditions, you're going to get 30 volts. You add that to another panel, you get maybe 60 volts. A lot of these solar inverters, I've got a few of them, they have minimum MPPT voltage limits in order to work properly. For example, one of them I have has a 70 volt limit. So just connecting 2 of these to one of the MPPTs on my inverter is not going to kick in, because it's going to be under the minimum 70 volt limit. Now, some of the other popular inverters may have a minimum MPPT voltage of 90 volts or 120 volts. So be sure you're checking that with your inverter before you hook it up. For 12 volts, 24 volt systems, you're probably going to be okay, but yeah, this is usually what you might see in some of these all-in-one inverters that are 48 volts. So just beware of that. So I think that's all of the cons that I can think of. I've used mine for many years now and it's been good, but it takes a specific type of install for this to work. RVs, traditional roofs probably challenge. Van, potentially good. Definitely charging a power station or using it for something around the house is another good option. But I'm curious to know what you think. Is this something that you would use? I know Callsun's been a good provider, a good manufacturer, so a lot of people like these, and you can get them on Amazon. So I'll leave links and everything below, and I think that's all I have to say at this point. Anything else, drop it in the comments. So talk to you later. Bye.